Everybody, I've got an old shovel here that has a crack in the handle. You can see right there. It's not doing so well. It's not really good for much digging anymore. It's seen better days, but I do need a shovel for metal detecting. So I'm going to modify this. I'm going to use this on there to remove all of the dirt and everything else that's on there, so I can retrofit this and possibly, more than likely, cut this handle down to so I can use it. It's a little taller. It's got some age on it, but let's just see what we kind of. Okay, here we are. Here's the same shovel. It's kind of wire wheeled pretty aggressively. It is only a brass drill wheel, so it's could be a little tougher than it is, but it definitely looks a lot better than it did before. So now we're going to try to maybe cut the head of this thing down so I can get something that's a little narrower, and so when I dig a plug, it won't be this big monstrous thing. I'm a little concerned as to the thickness of this blade out here. Even when I was wire wheeling it, I can see it flexing a little bit. So if I cut this down and make it narrow, I'm a little concerned that it might be too narrow. But I guess we'll see what we end up with when we're done. Okay, guys, here we are at the next step. What I'm going to do is I've just made a paper template and drawn a line on the back of the shovel of where the center of the shovel is. I've kind of got the point set up right there. I'm just going to let the natural tip of the shovel take its natural curve. I'm not going to have that sharp of a point. I'm just going to line it up this way. I'm just going to run magic marker down the side and kind of get a rough idea of, before I start cutting this, as to where I want my lines to go. And I'll lay that out, I'll draw it up and see how symmetrical I get it, and then I'll come back with a little bit of a result as to where we're at with that. Thanks. Okay, guys, I've got my lines kind of drawn out. I just want to have cut off up here somewhere, so there's a little bit of strength left in this end of it. And I think that's about close to the size I want. It's not perfectly symmetrical, but the shovel was basically garbage anyway because of the cracked handle, which I'm going to still have to do something with that at the end of this. So I'm going to basically kind of cut along these lines, and that's just a center line. And I'm going to maybe put some serrated teeth into that, and so it's onto the grinder next. Alrighty, here is one half of the shovel notched out. I was going to put a curve in there, but obviously with a cutting wheel, it doesn't do corners very well. So I'm just going to come down here and cut off this other side and see where we end up. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Alrighty, here's the shovel with both sides cut off. I'm pretty happy with that. I didn't follow the lines exactly. It was in a vise, and it was low on the vise where I'd have to really crouch down to see the magic marker line that I'd put on the bottom of it. But I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean up these edges just a bit, and then I'm going to put some serrations in the sides of that, and we'll see how well that turns out. Looking forward to that. This is going to be good, I think. Alrighty, everybody, I have made another template, a copy of the one that I had previously, and there you go. I've put lines where I want my serration marks to be cut into this. I'm just going to kind of lay it over top, and then I'm going to mark it with the marker, and I'll get back to you and show you where my marker lines are when I'm done, and then we can kind of go with, obviously I don't have that point on it up here. It's got more of a blunt, rounded point than that super duper one. So I will get back to you when I have use this to mark out where my lines are going to be, and then I'll start cutting. Alrighty, so what I did was I just took my template and I laid it along the side of the shovel, and I just put everywhere I wanted a serration to start. I just put a little dot along the side there for how many serrations I wanted, and you can choose whatever number you want. Mine are arbitrary. I kind of got something in my head and I like the design, and I did the same over here on this side. And then what I did was I picked a point in the middle where I wanted them all to kind of come up to. So I just transferred that mark onto there, And what I did was I took a straight edge like this, and I just ran these lines all the way up, just to kind of, and on both sides too, just to make the, there we go, that's better, just to kind of get an idea of where my serrations are going to be and what they're going to look like. I may not go that deep with the cut. It does look a bit excessive now that I'm looking at it. You can play around with whatever you think should be the depth for it. I might shallow that up just a little bit. I might bring it back to maybe like there, because like I said, that does look a bit deep. Next step is taking the grind out and starting to cut. Alrighty, here's the shovel with serrations cut into it. I'm going to probably widen out these gaps a bit more. It's a little narrow. I'm not going to get a lot of success with something that narrow. So that's a little bit of a preview of what it looks like. I'll flip it around, see the back. See, I put some lines in. I was going to come in as far as this line here, and I opted not to because it looked a bit excessive, and it was. Once I got it drawn out and laid the design out on the shovel, I thought, yeah, that's not where I want to be. So these lines are just guidelines for me to just to kind of where I need to know where run the cutting wheel on the grinder. And so what I'll do is I'll make those out, and I'll try to clean these edges up a little bit nicer and get a little bit of a sharpness going on there. Okay, here's the handle portion of the shovel. There's the shovel there. I've cut the handle down. I found a spare shovel that I have. This is where the split started in my old handle. I don't mind having a short shaft. I consider it actually just using the handle that the busted shovel end was on this one here. But I don't mind having a shorter. This one would have been a little longer, but I don't mind having a shorter one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of this LePage's PL Premium, which is a super strong adhesive, like crazy strong. It's a construction grade adhesive. So I'm going to basically put some in there, take that apart, gob some in there, and then I'm going to take this yellow handle, which is the exact diameter of that, and slip it on there and put the set screw in. We'll see how that works out. Okay, I'll come back when we're all done. Alrighty, here we are with the finished product. There's the head of the shovel. I got a couple of serrations a little wider. They weren't as narrow. It was originally just the width of the cutoff wheel, but I cut them a little wider, and I put little. I drug it across this way here, so this point here would be sharp and this would be dull. So no resistance that way. Tons of cutting power that way. So that turns out well. So you can see here where I've just cut away the old blade, just like that. Literally that simple. And I turned that shovel into that. I dealt with the handle issue. Here's the back. Let's show you the back first. This back. Took a 60 grit wheel on an angle grinder, sanding disc, and kind of cleaned it up a little bit. Took some of the rust off. And there's the new handle on it. Or new used handle. New to me. Works for me. So, yep, there it is, all said and done. And hopefully it works as well as it looks. Awesome. Thanks for watching.